Good morning. There you are. I think we're going to start. Otherwise, we're going to miss out too much on our session this morning. I'm not quite sure. How do I see how many people are on board? But it looks like quite a few are already on board. So I think let's not waste time and get going with that. I'd like to, first of all, say good morning and welcome to everybody. And a very special welcome to our special guest this morning, Advocate Pria Hassan, who will be addressing us a little bit later. I want to welcome you all to the Red Hub, the Regent Business School Red Hub, which is the Center of Entrepreneurship. And I'll give you a little bit more information about that a little bit later. But you're most welcome, and I'm really glad that you were able to join us this morning. My name is Ronel Blom. I'm the Dean of Academics at Regent Business School, and I will be hosting this morning's seminar. The seminar is going to deal with female entrepreneurs in the accelerated reconstruction of the economy. And I think it's high time that we start talking about how women can contribute towards this economy and does contribute towards the economy. So just the housekeeping, you're all familiar with the chat. If you don't mind, I will try and monitor it as we talk, but certainly towards the end of the seminar, there will be an opportunity to raise questions and so on. But in the interim, please feel free to make use of the chat. And where possible, we'll pause and address a question or an issue. Also, we just found that in general, it's best to keep our cameras off. But of course, you're most welcome to switch your camera on when you're talking or when you're asking a question. Okay, not you, Pria. So please, you stay in full view if you don't mind. Okay, so just as an introduction, I just thought that, I think it is quite apparent that COVID-19 has brought all of us to a complete standstill. It's almost as if the universe is telling us to stop and think about new and more sustainable ways of living and working. And I think that's so crucial. And this includes rethinking the economy and the ways in which economic activity enhances a more equitable society. The one thing I think that has become incredibly clear, and not only an abstract, something that has been talked about outside there, are the incredible inequities in the society. And in COVID-19 has just shown that up so clearly. So it's crucial that we find new ways of thinking about being more inclusive in the economy. So perhaps this global pause gives us an opportunity as women to take our place in the center of a new economy, whatever that may mean. And I want to sort of almost impress on us that we don't really know what that new economy means. And that's what we want Pria to talk to us today. So today, to help us explore these possibilities, we have someone who is eminently qualified to help us, as she is a female entrepreneur of note. And her name is Advocate Pria Hassan. I would like to introduce Pria to you. Pria is the founder and CEO of the Women of Africa Group. Her company is steeped in the petroleum industry and is increasingly gaining market share. This women-owned, women-run company is also involved in the pharmaceutical, logistical, and construction sectors, all of which has been built up in just a few of 15 years. As the leader of Women in Africa, Pria has impressed with her entrepreneurial abilities, and she has been consistently awarded accolades since 2011. The list of accolades is as long as my arm. So I'm not going to read everything, but the most recent one is finalist top empowered business leader in 2019. So just last year. So congratulations on that one, Pria. Finally, as I read through her CV and also looked at her work, she is a pioneer in women empowerment, which truly puts her money where her mouth is. And I'm really looking forward to engaging with you this morning. Welcome, Priya, and thank you very much for making yourself available. You may want to tell the participants your particular circumstance, and then they will know how much it is appreciated that you are here this morning.
No, well, thank you, Ronel. I think we all have our little novices that we still rely on. And for my sons, I'm going to be 40 next year. 50 next year. COVID is taking 10 years of my life away.
I hear you.
And turning 50 meant that I've had this childhood habit of sucking my thumb. And more recently, it resulted in an infection in it. So I have been in hospital on IV lines in a private hospital, no doubt, just trying to get myself back to a level where I'm healthy again. So thankfully, and thank God that I'm not, I don't have any other infection, or I'm not exposed to COVID. We've obviously all had our scares. And I think psychologically we're in a place where we remain fearful, but vicious nonetheless about how we do things and at the time and pace at which we do it.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad you are with us this morning. So ladies and gentlemen, I suppose it's mostly ladies this morning. I'm going to now introduce the first question that I want to pose to Priya in regards to female entrepreneurs in South Africa. And so my first question is, what is the context, both before and during COVID, that affects female entrepreneurs?
I think, firstly, let me just say to you that women have always been nurturers, inevitably nurturers. We're great at it, we're fantastic at it. But for the first time, we had to be everything to everybody. We had to be nurturers to our children, nurturers to our staff, nurturers to our parents, our loved ones. God, even the people that we basically rely on them ourselves, our bankers require information from us or help from us just to motivate them to get through the day. And it's a unique situation. It's not one that we are playing in territory which is known or in which we know what's coming next. However, having said that, I think it's important to place into context where we stand globally. Is this just an issue that's unique to South Africa? No, it isn't. There are some issues that are unique to us, which we will have to deal with as we go along. But I think there's a way in which we ought to start recovering. And I can go through a whole host of it, but I'd like to touch on some of it. I said, firstly, we need to have a strong and resilient health system. I know we're failing dismally in that. And I think that a huge amount of attention needs to be paid to that. And that is where women should be looking at opportunities in that resilience. I think we need to have an environment that is becoming more sustainable. You'll see more and more that we're becoming subservient to climate change, weather phenomena. Again, there's opportunity for us even in that. And I'll explain myself later as we go through. Down in terms of societies and trying to create a society which is inclusive, transparent, equitable. Again, I think our role there is to try and forge alliances amongst our communities where people speak up and speak out. Somehow, and we all know it's a fact, but we don't want to admit it. People are ashamed of having COVID. I don't understand why.
It's strange.
For me, it's like having the flu. And inevitably, you have to deal with it. You can't hide from it. There's no way to run from it. You ought to admit it and deal with it and promote that amongst others. Because the more awareness you create, the safer your society becomes.
That's true.
Hide it and behave like it's something that's just passing through, I think is naive. So it's important for us as women to encourage each other and to talk to each other. And again, there's an opportunity that lies in that. Then let's talk about expanding our education system. God, I don't know about you, but the LinkedIn system, online schooling is driving me insane. It is not the easiest to work with. A lot of moms are truly really struggling with it. There's not many people out there that actually are able to teach you how to work through it. The modules are not easily accessible, nor do you have a central repository where the information lies, so you can give your child access to it grade by grade, especially our grade 12 learners. I myself have a 23-year-old son, and I have a 18-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old daughter. And I have 3 monster animals that run around my house. And of course, I'm married to the one monster, which is the husband. But having said that, even my pets, even them going ordinarily to their normal parlor, which is on a Thursday, has become something of an issue for the parlor owner, who is a woman, because she felt she had to close her business down. She didn't know how to maintain it, how to have a safe environment for the pets. So there had to be clarity that had to be obtained for her to be sustainable, for her to be ongoing. So again, there's answers for women and there's opportunities in that. I'd also like to talk about improving the way in which we are responding to crime and recovery. Ignoring gender-based violence, tolerating it, keeping quiet about it, is a grave injustice, not just to ourselves, but to society at large. We have to start holding people accountable. Open the cases that we ought to open. And if we're not getting the help we need, then I've even said to you, let's create that helpline where people can ask us the questions, and we will spend time and give them the answers where we can.
Right.
Having said that, I have learned the greatest thing of all during the time of COVID has been time management. We don't understand the concept of time, day or night. We're pushing ourselves through all hours. And again, it's not sustainable. So this is where we find ourselves during the COVID time. This is where we find ourselves in terms of the economy. It is not a robust economy. We are now leaning more towards the IMF side. Not many women understand the financial implications thereof, and we ought to start making ourselves aware of it. There's no excuses for saying, well, we'll read all about it in the newspaper. Information is readily available.
If there still are newspapers.
Well, that's a good question. Answer, response. It seems to be getting thinner and thinner these days. It's so true. And a lot of people say to themselves, I don't want to read the paper anymore because there's nothing good in it. But again, that's being naive. There's a new kind of reality we're all waking up to every day. And it means that we wake up to reality in which we're educated on how to respond to it. To ignore it means that we are living in blissful oblivion.
Yes.
In a bubble. And that bubble is surely going to burst at some point in time.
Yeah. So what kind of challenges do you think is unique to South African female entrepreneurs?
I think because we were involved in the soft services sector, we've seen a large number of women lose their businesses. We've seen them shut doors. We also have women that are in the informal sector, and even they're not allowed to survive any longer. And there seems to be no way in which we can address the situation currently. But in greater context, I don't think in South Africa we realize that 400 million people, as we stand to date, have lost their jobs.
True.
It's not just us, it's a host of others across the globe, which means the situations we're facing, again, are not unique, but it means that we have to start reinventing ourselves and the way in which we do business. And when I say reinventing ourselves and the way in which we do business, we have to go back to basics. Do you remember the days in which we used to have our vegetables delivered to our door, left outside our door? The money would be in a bottle, and even our milk is to be delivered to our door. Those services are unfortunately all coming back because people are not too fearful. They're fearful to walk into shops. Ordering online is not as easy as we all think, because a lot of us are still technologically challenged.
Yes.
And that is the truth. So we're finding it harder and more difficult to embrace technology and innovation. So again, there's a lot of opportunities for women in that sector, where we start addressing the needs of our communities in ways in which they understand, as opposed to trying to just fix everything from a technological perspective. I'd like to talk a lot about that. And I used a simple example. So I have a young woman that I mentored for 18 years who grew her beauty business. And she grew it at a relatively sustainable pace until she started winning major bids to carry on opening into other countries and other places.
Yes.
When COVID hit her, it hit her really hard. And she realized, oh my God, I'm going to have to shut my doors. And all of my women are now suddenly unemployed. So they each took a task, from sewing masks to creating their own takeaway kits for home care, to making their own nails that are basic and easy to apply. She created the most divine sets of tools needed for women to take care of herself at home, which included even your own dye. And it was affordable. So instead of just walking away and saying, I'm going to shut my doors, the retail side remained open, and she created new ways in which to repackage her products and still keep her people employed. So
that's amazing. So where are they situated, these people? Everywhere.
All over. One of the most prestigious ones that you know of is Image Studio Umhlanga, which is based at Coastlands Umhlanga. Well known.
Yes.
And is a host to a large contingent of the highly affluent level of people in the country, well, in this part of the world. I mean, I used to fly in from Johannesburg 10 years ago to go and have my nails done with Image. And it was so strange. It was a matter of trust. Now I look at her and I think, well, look, I thought about it and I said, oh my God, what are you going to do? And she sat down and said, no, you've taught me better. I'm not going to waste this year. I'm going to take it and I'm also going to study. I'm going to do that BCom that I always said I'm going to do for myself. So she's using the time to also educate herself. She's got 2 children, one that's 18 months old and the other that's just hit 24 months.
Wow.
So it is quite strange. She has these 2 little ones, so she still goes home to a bustling home. She has to take care of them. But again, she's not found excuses. Rather, she found a way to fight back. But let's talk about hard issues. Women refuse to take control of their finances. Again, we remain oblivious of what our finances look like. Some of us, not all of us, some of us. How many of us have taken a look at our bank statements and realized that there are certain costs going through that we ordinarily need not incur?
Yeah.
Some of us have taken time to defer things that can be deferred, that ought to be deferred. How many of us have actually understood why TERS was so difficult and actually just gave up on even trying to apply for it?
Yes.
I know thousands of women that were attempting to give up. And so we sat down with them and we went through each and every paperwork. And we said to them, this is where you've gone wrong. This is what you ought to do right. It took a lot of time. Yes, no doubt. But if we didn't do it, if we didn't support each other, there was a lot of money that we're all walking away from.
Yes, that's true.
And government has said to us, there are certain funds available to us. When we look at the criteria for applying for those funds, my God, it's a grocery list. I agree. I do not disagree that it looks daunting to a lot of women. But how many of us have asked for help, have sat down and said, right, we really don't know how to redo a business plan in terms of what our current business and what we need to survive for the future, in terms of how we want to grow this business. Manufacturing is going to remain a key component of this country. In terms of material, do you realize that South Africa exports most of its silica, which is used in material, to other parts of the world, be it India, Kazakhstan? And yet, we are incapable of making our own material. And I ask myself the question, why?
Yes.
So manufacturing circle has to be reborn.
Mm.
And there's a beautiful organization called Proudly South Africa. Now, Proudly South Africa promotes proudly South African products.
Yes.
Everybody used to think, well, we can't afford to join the association because to get in, you had to pay 10,000 Rand.
Yeah.
But when I took over as the chair of the procurement forum, I realized in order to make it more accessible to our general public, we had to drop the entry level fee. And it's now at 500 Rand.
Oh, wow.
Enterprise. And it goes up further once you reach 10 and 50 million, obviously.
Mm.
So I'm saying we need to start looking at this. I've sent a whole presentation through to you. And at leisure, a lot of people can go through the presentation. But what was important, what I wanted to talk about was, in our own province, in our own city, we were 50 businessmen, and I found myself to be the only businesswoman sitting on a call with all the provincial leaders, asking, what have you done with the funding that was given to you for the province? Can you please explain to us, where was it spent? How was it spent? And what percentage of it was actually spent on women-owned businesses?
Yeah. And?
We still don't have those answers.
Oh, really?
And we will be getting it shortly. And then we went on to say, well, let's just talk about our billing, our utility billing. We all are still paying 3-month average billings, right? And we've all accepted it.
Yeah.
Because we are all told municipality cannot give us real-time billing. That is an utter load of nonsense. They actually can. We don't have to pay a 3-month average.
No, true.
All we had to do was request it and ask for it. We have to go back and say we cannot afford these rates. They're far too high. Look at our property valuations right now. Yes, maybe 5 years ago it was worth that much. But in an economy like this, it's no longer worth that much. So you have to reduce your rate value. You know, the fiscus looks to us to support them. But in order for us to support ourselves, we also got to look to the fiscus and ask the right questions and say, there are certain things we can do to help our country, and there are certain things we have to do to help ourselves.
Correct.
Nobody's going to do it.
So it's a question, it seems to me it's a question of connecting the dots. You know, so starting with your own personal finances and understanding how those personal finances can be run better. And then maybe, you know, extrapolating that to your business and extrapolating that to the economy. So, yeah.
And I've even gone so far as to ask the Minister of Transport and ask Sandra, if we're paying you such a high toll fare, yet we are subjected to all these roadblocks, all these attacks on the roads, where is those toll fares going? What are they being used? It's about time you started reducing it in accordance with the kind of service we're getting. South Africa has become used to mediocre service.
That's true.
We're blaming it on foreign employment. We're blaming it on a host of other things. But it's actually us. We've become used to having mediocre service. We refuse to speak up about it. We refuse to complain about it or do something about it. We're waiting for someone else to do something about it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that is going to get worse because, I mean, the government departments are just as much subject to the lockdown. And so many of the services are now being delayed and delayed and delayed. For example, the licensing services is being delayed, and so it's going to be backlogs of notes. So it's going to be months, if not longer, before that is going to be improved. It's scary to think.
We had 13 stations, licensing stations in South Africa, in KZN alone, closed down.
Yeah.
13.
Wow.
With COVID issues.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so I said to Minister, we have 13 closed stations, yet you've only given us a reprieve till the 31st of August.
Yes.
How in heaven's name do you expect your team to catch up with that backlog? It's not going to happen. They revised the date. The date is now 31st of December 2020.
Okay.
And in fact,
That's
I've heard
really,
it even be revised to the 31st of March 2021.
Yeah. Now, I think that's going to be the order of the day. I mean, we're going to have to adjust our timelines and our deadlines all the time, So, Priya, there was a question that came up here. Okay, the Proudly South Africa access fee. You said it was now?
I said it is now. Your entry level fee for a new SMME business is at 500 Rand.
500 Rand.
Yes.
Yes.
You can go onto the website on Proudly South Africa. You can ask for a lady called Janine or Happy, and they will send you this forms and submit it to you. And it's as simple as that. You're then allowed access to the database, advertise your product, as well as work with each other.
Fantastic.
I also told you that we've created our own dynamic teams. There's a team called Dynamic Women. They trade with each other.
Okay.
There's a team called Phenomenal Women. They trade with each other.
And what do they trade?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything. From food to PPE to stationery, you name it. We work with each other in our own little group because we've realized. So men are not able to help us at this stage. Okay? We're marginalized. We remain marginalized. Our seat at the table still needs to be earned, still needs to be proven, and we're still always fighting to be heard. Yes. Nothing much has changed. We'd like to say it has, but I've sit on many boards, and it's a slow change. It's not an easy change. The only way to develop ourselves is to start to work with each other. And there are a lot of women-owned businesses out there that manufacture from the soft stuff to the hard stuff, be it engineering, electrical work, aluminium, glass. Even from a fuel perspective, how many international women fuel traders do you know? There are very few. In my sector, they're very few and far between.
I can imagine.
I'm still sending my fuel into Africa.
Yeah.
Nothing's stopping that trade. And if another person asks me how to do it, I can't say to them, I'll give you the customer base. I can teach them how to do it.
Yes.
But I think a lot of people's expectations is, no, can't you give us the customer as well? You have to put in some of the work as well. We can't do everything for you.
Absolutely.
We can do some of it for you.
I just want to pause and have a quick look here. So Julie says, I think we often feel hopeless because we don't feel our complaints and concerns will be heard and addressed. It's such a struggle to find the right route to put through these issues.
Which is why I said, Ronel, emanating from this summit, from this discussion, from the webinar, should be a forum in which we create a place where we can put forward all our requests, which we can send to the presidency and ask to be heard.
Okay. All right. So I think that's a very practical way forward in which we can, include a lot of people, which is online with us this morning. Yeah, fantastic. All right. I want to also go back to some of our other questions. You've been giving us some very nice examples of how female entrepreneurs overcome problems. You were talking about the dynamic women. Where do we make contact with that group?
I will send you the link to it. It was started by a lady called Indrani Govender, and absolutely no problem to be included in the link to trade with each other. Nicole will let you have it. But whilst you're on the link, please note, we must respect WhatsApp conversations as well. Put out the relevant ads. Don't put up nonsense. These days, because time is so limited, because we're seeing to so many different things, I implore everybody to please put up things of value.
Yes.
Share information, not your thoughts.
No,
I think that's very important.
Yeah.
That we respect WhatsApp websites.
Oh, absolutely.
The exciting thing I wanted to announce today was, for the first time, well, as far as I know, South Africa has its very own female-owned bank. Where
Female
literally,
what?
yes, we have our own bank. It's called Women
Oh,
Building.
female bank. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, tell us about that.
It's called Women Building Our Africa. If you want information on it, it can be sent to info@wboa.co.za. Again, Nicole will send that to you. Please send your information. The shares are not expensive, but what is important is that finally we as women can start taking control of our own finances, investing in each other, not waiting for others to invest in us.
Correct. So I just want to put here for everybody a female bank, and it's called
Women Building Our Africa. WBOA. It's Africa to Africa, but Women Building Our Africa.
Okay, there you are, Women Building Our Africa. Good. We'll share the information with everyone. I think that's a wonderful
What's
idea.
important behind the information was it was a 5-year battle. And if some of us had given up on that desire or that dream, we would not have achieved it. And to a lot of female entrepreneurs, I say to each and every one of you,
yes.
The bank, yes, it'll cover the continent. I see Kim has asked a question. Yes, Kim,
I see that,
the intention is to make the bank cover the continent. So we will have other divisions in other parts of the world. What I want to say to a lot of women is you often have a goal and a vision. You know, we all create these vision boards in 2020. Yes. My one, for the first time in 18 years, I had to change my vision board. The one I created at the beginning of the year is no longer applicable as we stand right now. And so too must we change our goals for ourselves. Rather focus on what we can control as opposed to what we can't. And yes, ask all the questions we want. Get all the help you need. Ask for the help. If it can be given, men can join. Of course, Isaac, we are trying to be an all-inclusive bank. So we're not going to discriminate against men, and we try to have gender inclusivity. It's absolutely a big thing for us, is to shift away from just saying it's only about women entrepreneurs. Gender inclusivity is a big part of what we're trying to do as well. But for the first time, this is a all-owned women bank that was started.
Oh, so, that sounds fabulous.
You probably will be one of the few male applicants that will be considered. So I can assure you, you will be. Please
that's fantastic.
To us. Another thing, please, ladies, real-time billing is very, very important. Ladies and gentlemen, real-time billing is very important in terms of even in your own business. As and when you do your business, get your billing done. Make sure your tax affairs are in order. Get all your certification done. If you don't know how to do it, then you must ask, and we will show you where to go to, whom to go to, how to get it done. There are innovation hubs and center hubs that do exist. And so few people go there for help and information. And a lot of it is for free, including company registrations. So I think everybody's thinking, well, PPE, you know, it's a big opportunity now for tenderpreneurs. Here's the truth. Here's what we have to face. You are a lot of you going to become tenderpreneurs. What choice do you have? You either join the masses or you fall behind. And that means that you at least try. So yes, I know tenderpreneurship is not one of my favorite things. In fact, I hate it. But I'm going to say to you, you're going to have to try. Because if you don't try, you can't shift from where you are to where you want to be. If you don't know how to complete a bid, then again, ask and someone will teach you. We will teach you. We will teach you how to create a template and start with that.
Yeah, great. Great. I want to just maybe, I see our time is short. We only have about 10 minutes left, and I want to give an opportunity for questions and answers. Just before I do that, I'm going to share the slideshow. Okay, I'm disabled. Bryson, please just make it possible for me to share the slideshow. let's see. I'm going to try and share the presentation that you, okay, no, it doesn't want to open.
Ronel, is you can actually email it to a whole host of people that registered. It should make it easier.
I will. I will make it available. There will be a way in which we can do that, so that we'll make it available. But just to let the ladies know, it's about funding. I'm going to just quickly flip through. It's funding for South Africa women entrepreneurs. So there is a set of 23 slides.
Correct.
23 slides, which actually details all the information that you need in relation to the various funding mechanisms that are available to you currently. So we won't, okay, Brandon says I can share now. Let me try and share.
With that, Ronel, what I ought to be giving you as well is a list of databases that women ought to go and register on in order to submit whatever bid they require. So we will undertake to send that to you as well by close of business today.
Fabulous. Okay,
I've just realized that's very important.
All right, so this is the presentation, ladies. You'll see here, there's a whole list of funding mechanisms that you can actually go through. And Pria was kind enough to actually take us through every one in detail to a very large extent. I want to just quickly go to the top and show you. So there's really so much information. And I'm just flipping through it because we're not going to be able to work through each of those. But I think this is kind of the basis where you can then start from and say, all right, now I can follow up and ask questions around how do I do this? So just so that you know that part. Then the other thing.
Sorry, now I must actually thank my executive assistant, Nicole. She's the one that actually put all the information.
Put it together. Fabulous. Thank you very much to Nicole. Yes. Okay, and then when I just see, oh goodness, yeah, I want to unshare, stop share. Yeah. Okay. All right. Are there any pressing questions that you want to raise now? Anybody? You can either type it or you can just unmute yourself and put your camera on and talk to us. Anybody?
I see we have a lot of shy attendees.
Looks like that. I see here's a question. Let me see. This person says, I'm from Eswatini. Is the information being spread applicable to me or only South African nationals? That's a good question, Pria. Is it only for South Africa?
It is. So what I need to send you is also the UN website that you need to register on for that kind of information. In fact, today I had tried to get a guest speaker, which is the financial director, Maria Costas from the UN. And she was not available, unfortunately. So I will send you the information she shared with me, which you can give to those that are based outside of the country.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, thank you very much. So we'll make all of that available. And then there's somebody from Justina who says, I'm looking for a mentor. I'm based in Johannesburg.
Justina, I would have loved to have said yes. But right now, I can assure you, I have 40 mentors, all of whom are not getting all of the attention they deserve. However, I am happy to point you perhaps in the right direction if you send us a brief profile of yourself so we can match you with somebody similar. And I think that's very important. You're not going to just look for a mentor. You're going to look for somebody that would coach you. Someone that you would obviously sign a contract with. You don't need to pay them, but you do need to make sure that you attend those sessions, please. These women, don't have a lot
so I think we must follow up and make contact available amongst ourselves so that we can follow up on these possibilities. Here's another question. Which are the industries that will mostly benefit from women entering the economy post-COVID?
I think it will be the financial services sector, the energy sector, independent power producers, agro-processing, specifically everything on FMCG. A lot of South African products are imported, not locally manufactured.
I want to write that in the type. So you said financial services?
Financial services, agro-processing, importation of your maize, sugar. In fact, sugar is still going to be imported for a while. All types of legumes, beans, rice to a large degree still imported. The energy sector is still a big place, including your independent power producers, your solar power, hydropower is also still an opportunity. I think that you need to go on to all these specific different arms of government which are showing you where the opportunities are lying. So if you click on the general government website, it'll take you into each specific unit, and it will show you from an agro-processing perspective what is required, right down to the energy sector.
Yeah. What about, I found that the DTI is really good with that kind of information. Would you suggest people go there?
DTI is excellent at it.
Okay.
There's a gentleman called Dr. Makube. He's responsible for local content and ensuring that what we do in South Africa is locally produced. And he's the only man that can gain any kind of exemption for imported products, believe it or not. DTI.
What's his surname?
Dr. Makube. Dr. Tebogo Makube.
Yeah.
But there's an excellent lady as well, Ronel. Danae Kruger. So she's from Trade Investment KwaZulu-Natal. However, she sits with a huge set of information that could guide you as to
where do we get hold of her?
She's also on the DTI website, and Nicole will send you her email address.
Fantastic. Okay.
What DTI does to Ronel, I'm sure you're aware of it, is if you want to trade outside of South Africa, they will send you a list of which countries are looking for what types of product that we may necessarily have, and what South Africa is looking for. For example, cocoa largely comes from Ghana, and you will see that South Africa purchases a lot of it from Ghana. And the Ghanaian Investment Promotion Center, which is also accessible online, will have a whole host of the cocoa producers that you can close your own deals with. So everything is entirely possible. Trading is a big part of what women need to get into.
Yes. Yes, 100%. Okay, thank you very much. I think that is incredibly useful, and it gives people really tangible mechanisms to deal with and so on. But I think we shouldn't stop having this conversation. Before I give you the final word, Pria, I want to just ask people to remember that the Regent, the Red Hub Center for Entrepreneurship, which is hosting this seminar this morning, has a range of services available also to women entrepreneurs. We want to encourage female entrepreneurs to make use of the services that we have available. And maybe we can look at ways in which we can create some synergies, Pria, between your own processes and what we have at the Red Hub. And I just want to maybe mention very briefly what are some of the services that we offer. And things like business innovation, incubation, business advice, mentoring. So somebody was asking about mentoring, and maybe we must start a Red Hub mentoring process. So accounting and tax services, and that's what you said, Priya, people must look after their billing, they must look after their tax, they must look after those things. And then various training and development and education services. I'm going to ask that the brochure for the Red Hub is also shared with everybody that's on this call. But if you want to go and have a look, you can certainly go and have a look at www.regent, and it's there on our website. So please go and have a look if you're interested in joining that conversation. So Priya, I want to give you an opportunity. Oh, wait, there are lots of questions here. Let me just quickly have a look. Yeah. What about women in transportation? Do you have any information about women in transportation?
I would say for now, please be very careful about women in transportation. I myself have an organization called Women in Logistics South Africa.
Yes.
And as opposed to growing my fleet, I had to scale it down. With the current COVID disease, the trading environment in terms of especially types of product that we are moving is not easily and readily available right now.
Yeah.
For example, your ores, your chromes, your mining and mineral commodities that usually we pick up over border and pass through are not available. So if you're going to get into that particular type of industry, I'd say please be, careful about it. Yeah. However, if you're going to get into the smaller tonnage vehicle, your 8-tonners, your refrigeration, most definitely the opportunity exists. Again, get to know what your RTMS authorities require, your road traffic management services require. Ensure that you get your relevant certification. If you cannot afford that certification, your Small Enterprises Development Agency, which is your CEDA, does pay for it, but you've got to make an application for that.
Small Enterprises Development Agency.
CEDA, yes.
Yeah.
Now, what I would like to urge you to do, please, is once I send you the database of dynamic women, I think I 100% agree with you. We must have more of these conversations as often as possible. And even if we have a set day or a set time and give other women an opportunity to present their ideas and their cases and their success stories, I think we ought to do it.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, I think we pretty... Okay, so we've got a range of things that we want to share with the participants. I just want to see, here's a question about funding for a small home-based business.
Okay, are we looking at the gap housing market or low-cost housing market?
I don't think it's home-based. She wasn't specific about what is the content, what is the actual product.
So the Department of Human Settlements is still funding your gap housing market.
Okay.
You can apply for a thing called a FLISP for these individuals. It's all income earners below 6,000 Rand. That is a requirement. You have to be CIDB accredited. You also have to be NHBRC accredited, which is a process. That means you should have a contractor that is able to write the exam and pass it and then hold the certification, and it is renewable every year. So yes, and I think it's still a big business. It still exists, especially around the manufacturing hubs.
Yes.
So you want people to live closer to where in fact they have to manufacture.
Right. Okay. All right. So there's a link is up for everybody to have a look at in terms of the brochure. We will now, after this, share with you the link to this recorded session as well. And we will share various other material and documents with you as well. So thank you very much, Pia. Do you have a final word for all of us?
Just a simple thing, resilience. Ladies, it is the word that you've got to get up to every day and go to sleep with it every night. This is not an easy time. And by no means is it going to get easier. So you have to mentally rebuild yourself and get yourself psyched up enough to get through the day. And I think what works is, I know I'm not doing it as often as I ought to, but I think it is so important, is make a list of things that you want to achieve and the time frames within which you want to achieve it, so that you don't feel like you're just living every day as it comes. Then I finally want to invite everybody to please access our website. If we can help you, please ask for it, and we will do what we can as well.
What is your website, Priya?
It's www.regenbusines, reigniting.woaonline.com.
That's your own business's website. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All of
there
the
you
businesses
go.
are there.
Yes.
But again,
Fantastic.
we'd love to partner with Regent. We'd like to sign a cooperation agreement with you and promote the services that
Yes.
you offer to more women.
Absolutely. Now let's talk and see if we can't get a regular, a regular slot to
For
talk
sure.
about that. Fantastic.
Thank you, Ronel. Thank you for your time. And thanks, guys, for dialing in.
Thank you very much, everybody. This was lovely. Thank you very much. Keep in touch. We will certainly be keeping in touch with you. And thank you for your time and your attention this morning. So please take care, stay safe, stay healthy, get better, Pria. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much, Pria. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.